So, you're going to have a baby. Welcome to Mother Love Child. Today I am on my porch in a little nook I created for myself. We have crows joining us. They're squawking overhead. And we also have some neighbors cutting the grass, so hopefully you'll be able to hear me just fine. I'm going to speak loud enough and maybe take some breaks when that lawnmower gets too close to here. But anyway, today we are going to be talking about the one thing you can do every day to prepare for your labor and birth. Later in the video, I'll be sharing a couple experiences, one which happened during my very first labor and birth, and the other which happened at my most recent labor and birth. And so be sure to listen through to hear those because they're super special and super helpful. The one thing you can do every day to prepare for your labor and birth is to practice conscious awareness. So what is conscious awareness? Conscious awareness is the state of recognizing, being aware of what you know, feel, see, perceive. So why make it part of your everyday? Because it brings you closer to you. In order to practice conscious awareness, you need to turn inward. And labor and birth itself is inner work. So how do you practice conscious awareness? There are various ways you can practice conscious awareness, and today we're going to talk about 4 of them. Physical relaxation, imagery, whether that be guided or self-inspired, breath work, and self-soothing techniques. We want the act of practicing conscious awareness to become effortless. That way, when the time of labor and birth come, you're not trying to practice conscious awareness. It becomes interwoven in your regular daily life. So let's picture for a moment the wise old woman sitting in her chair with her handwork. Let's say I'm going to use knitting because that's something I have a little experience in. And when I picture the wise old woman with her knitting project in her hand and her knitting, she's not even looking at her hands. She's not even looking at the yarn or the needles. She can do it without looking at it. It has become so effortless. She can now knit her project and also be aware of the things happening in the space around her, and also be aware of herself and what she is feeling. My grandmother taught me how to knit. She taught me along with my sisters how to knit in the summers when she would come over and keep an eye on us while my mother worked. And I remember how much I had to focus on slipping the needle through the yarn and wrapping the yarn over, and when I slipped the needle out to make sure I grabbed the right loop of yarn and so forth. And then over time, the more I knit, the more I practiced, the more I took the time to experience it, the more effortless it became. And over time, I was able to knit my work without looking at the needles, without looking at my hand. And so essentially, if we were to compare that with conscious awareness, that's what we want to achieve. We want to achieve the ability to practice conscious awareness effortlessly without it taking that extra thought, that extra work process. Remember, because when we're in labor, we want our focus to be on our work in labor and birth, and not on learning something new. So let's dive in and start talking about some of these ways that you can practice conscious awareness. The first is physical physical relaxation. So sitting back and putting up our feet after a long day's work is for sure physical relaxation. But if we were to take it a step further and practice conscious awareness at the same time, we're going to do more than just lounge on the couch to a TV show or a book. We're going to take it a little bit further, and we're going to be super consciously aware of our body and allowing it to physically relax. So how do you do that, right? So what you do is you set some time aside. Now all of these different ways that you can practice conscious awareness, all of them can be practiced anywhere between 3 to 20 minutes, anytime during the day that works for you. Even just 3 minutes of practicing physical relaxation consciously is going to help you to be able to practice that effortlessly. So, just a short little example for physical relaxation would be to set a 3-minute timer. You can lie down on your back, on your side. You can relax in a chair. You can even relax in a couch. Whatever is speaking to you in that moment. And I would always, especially in the beginning, I'd encourage you to close your eyes. First, listen to your breathing. And then, imagine a muscle in your body. You can go from head to toe or from toe to head. You can even work from the middle and outward. What a beautiful place to begin with the womb and your belly and your baby. But feel those muscles. Feel them. Become aware of their state of tension. And then let go a little bit more. And then let go a little bit more. And move on to the next muscle in your body that you choose. That is one way to practice physical relaxation consciously. Okay? Conscious awareness practice through physical relaxation. All right. What's the next one? Right. Imagery. Whether it's a guided imagery that you find online or whether it's self-inspired, something that you come up with your own in your mind. And so how do you do that? If you find a guided relaxation online, then simply what you do is you get comfortable, quiet space, you push play, and you follow along. And you go with it. Now, if you're creating your own, if it's self-inspired, these are some things that you want to think of. And we're going to go with, in relation to labor and birth, anything that's opening, like a flower. What else open? I know there's more, right? There are more things that open other than just a flower. Obviously that's the only thing that comes to mind, or even just a circle opening, a spiral, getting wider and wider. Softening. Imagine things that are soft. Imagine an endless stream of energy flowing into you. So those are just a few examples of what you can think of. But while you're doing this in self-inspired imagery, you want it to be a quiet space without any interruptions, so you can really go into that imagery, breathe into what you are seeing, go through your senses, what you see, what you feel, or what the image in your mind would feel like, if there are any smells or taste Let's see, feel, smell, taste. I always miss one. See, feel, smell, taste, hear. And anything that you might hear. Add in those 5 senses in any type of inspired imagery that you might do. The main thing to take away with imagery is that you have a quiet space, maybe not one with the lawnmower in the background, and that is uninterrupted. So you can really just be self-absorbed in that practice. All right, and breath work. I love breath work. It is like the thing that can help stabilize and kind of ground us in the moment when things are like kind of rockier or just adrift. And breath work can bring us back to our center. The best place to begin with breath work is to just take the time to notice your breath. You don't even have to change it. Just notice it. Get familiar with how you breathe, how your breath carries you through, how your body breathes and gives you oxygen, and how that oxygen comes to you and to your baby. So the best way to begin with breath work is to just notice your breath. So I'll give you a couple examples. One is one of my favorites, and it's